If you've ever wondered what it's like to step forward and change careers midlife, or to navigate life transitions or overcome hard things, and really discover your next purpose, from having a career as a teacher for many years to stepping forward and becoming a health coach, well, I have a great interview for you today. Sit back and listen into this episode. You are going to be blessed, and you're definitely going to learn how to chase better. Welcome to Step Forward Midlife. Do you need a little courage or confidence? Do you have an idea or a dream but feel stuck or full of doubt? Are you uncertain about where to begin? If so, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Terry Mullen, mom to 4 adults, wife of 34 years, a midlife entrepreneur, and your confidence coach who once walked in those same shoes. I learned to transform doubt into confidence, to speak, write my book, start a podcast, and launch my own business in midlife. And now I empower other amazing women just like you to do the same. I share strategies about how to overcome doubt, uncertainty, and feeling unqualified, to gain confidence in your voice and your ability to step forward and create greater impact and income in your own life. So grab those tenacious tennis shoes and let's step forward together. I'm here to encourage you every step of the way. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hello Redlow podcast. I'm your host, Terry Mullen, and I am so excited for my guest that I have here today. It is someone I have known for a very long time. She's had a great impact on my life and the lives of my children and many that I know, and you are going to be so blessed with this conversation today. But before we start, I'd love to just share a little bit about who she is. My friend, MaryAnne Malicki, is here. She is a faith-filled wife, mother, daughter, sister, aunt, athlete, retired teacher, and coach. She has an adventurous spirit and loves exploring new destinations, cooking healthy delights, decorating and redecorating her home, exercising and throwing great parties, from anniversary parties to holiday gatherings and everything in between. But most of all, she is always chasing better and encouraging others to do the same. She was a professional educator for 33 years and bonded closely with her students so much that she has celebrated graduations, weddings, and births with the families she's taught. Wow, that just almost makes me cry. I've been blessed by her as well for these very reasons. She is a self-proclaimed advocate of others. She helps others achieve the best versions of themselves. Although she is no longer teaching children, she is blessed to be able to educate and inspire adults by assisting them to identify what they want to achieve and making a plan to make it happen. So without further ado, please meet my friend, MaryAnne Malicki.
Oh, Terry, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for being on. And I feel blessed and honored as well to be here with you. Like she said, we have been friends for a long time, like 22 years plus that we have our paths have crossed. So we have definitely been blessed to have each other in each other's lives. But what I love more is that was 22 years ago or 20 years ago, and not until recently, Terry, have our paths crossed again. And I truly believe that we were kindred spirits back then. And we just have this same belief system. We have the same values. And when you surround yourself with people who have the same values, who have the same hope for others, you need to keep them in your life. So thank you, Terry, for being in my life.
Amen. Thank you for that.
And it has been an honor to teach your children and all that good stuff. But all about me, I truly believe that we were made for more. And I am always chasing better. And I love that because at my ripe age of 58, I am still going for it. And I encourage other people to do the same. I've been a teacher. I think from the very get-go, I have been a teacher. And this is funny because when I was young, my mom gave me the choice. I could be a nun or a teacher.
Wow. Well, I know what you chose.
So I chose to be a teacher real fast. But later in life, like Terry said, I was a teacher at St. Gabriel's Catholic School. So I said, Mom, I am a teaching at a Catholic school. So I got the best of both worlds, which is kind of funny. But growing up, I was always an athlete. I did a bunch of sports, but swimming was one of the sports that I excelled in. And even very young, I was coaching and assistant coaching swim teams before I was even 16. I taught lessons. I was vacation Bible school. And then later in life, I was training educators to with strategies with math programs. And so teaching has always been part of my makeup. And I loved it. I'm so passionate about it. I started off teaching in the Fifth Ward in Houston ISD. And the Fifth Ward, if you don't know your wards, the Fifth Ward is the worst of the worst. And what was beautiful about that is that one of my second graders was the flower girl at our wedding. So that's the
Wow.
bond that I have with the kids that just is beautiful. I taught at River Oaks Baptist School from there in Houston. So I went to the Baptist side and then moved to Austin and taught at the Catholic school. So I was just like getting all the religion there, and ended up teaching and retiring from Lake Travis ISD for
Which was
30,
public.
which
Which was
is
public.
public school,
Yeah.
which is very, the things, I'm very a holy person. I'm very Catholic. So coming from a Catholic school and going into the public school, I'll just tell this story because it's a funny one,
Yeah.
is that I would at my desk, I would have my rosary, I would have my Bible, I would have all of this. And some of the teachers would come in and say, "Oh, Miss Malicki, you are really bold." And I couldn't figure out why. What are you talking about? Because this is who I am. They're like, "You're in a public school. You can't have this, and this." And so I said, well, this is my area. This is my desk. I didn't have rosaries and crucifix. I didn't have religious icons around the room, but I chose to be strong in my faith and strong what I believe in. And I said, this is my area. So the kids would come up and go, oh, and see the rosary and just like, oh, you're Catholic. So then as long as they were able to breach the subject, then I could talk about it. And they love to see me at church. They love to see me. I mean, kids love to see their teachers at grocery stores because apparently they don't think we eat or shopping. So they were just enthralled with that. But a funny story is that I had a picture of Mother Teresa by the window. And this was, I mean, she had been there since August, and this was in December. And this child raised his hand in the middle of math class and was like, "Miss Malicki, who is that old lady in the window?" And I was like, oh, I am so glad you asked about that, her name. And then I could speak about Mother Teresa and where she was from and all the kind things that she had done to make the world a better place.
Oh,
And
that's
just
awesome.
helping them realize that these famous people don't have to be athletes or movie stars or actors or actresses, but just incorporating that being a good person and chasing better. And Mother
Mm.
Teresa definitely chased better in her years.
Yeah.
But I've always been passionate about teaching, always had
Mm.
high expectations of myself, high expectations of the people around me. But what was beautiful with teaching is helping the kids dream.
Mm.
In fifth grade, they get to that phase where, they're too cool for school but I would help them dream again. And I
Mm.
think that that is so important. So, Terry, when was the last time you really dreamed before you wrote your book? When was the last time that you allowed yourself to dream and dream big?
Yeah. I definitely, for sure, in my teens, before my parents' divorce, that was huge. I had big dreams to go to college, be a doctor, and probably in my early 20s. But really beyond that, I did. I stopped dreaming. And that was a lot of why I wrote my book, just so that I could dream again and get back in touch with who I am at my core. Right?
And that's what's so beautiful. It was
Yeah.
just like I look back at that and I was like, okay, I dreamed when I was a little girl. You
Yeah.
dream about being a princess or whatever. And
Right.
then in my late teens, you dream about where I'm going to go to college, what my career path will be, who will I marry. And then once you arrive, and I had my career and I was married and I had my children and I
Yep.
was set in my ways, then it stopped.
Yeah.
It stops. And before I started dreaming again, it stopped for 31 years
Wow.
because I just knew that I was going to teach for the rest of my life and the kids are going to grow up and that was just it. I never dreamed outside that until I was acquainted with the program.
With what you're doing now.
Yes.
Mm,
So what, yeah. And it was just like, because now they were asking me to dream. And at first it was real uncomfortable. It was scary. It was
yeah.
terrifying. I was just like, okay, you're coming into my personal space here,
Yeah.
but we need to dig deep into our personal space
Mm,
in order to be better versions of ourselves, in order to chase better. We first need to get out of our comfort zone in order to make the changes, in order to live a better life.
yeah. 100%.
And so many people
100%.
are scared to do that, right?
Yeah. And the older we get, the scarier it feels, and we don't
Oh,
think we're qualified and it's not possible. And yes, 100%. I'm
and we're
so on
just
board.
set in our ways. And it's just
Right.
like, and so that's what I love. I love being able to help people step out of their comfort zone. And I
Mm,
don't just like step out of the comfort zone and drown. I'm there to help them and pick them up and hold their hands. And yeah, you are going to fall and you are going to
yeah.
fail. Just like
Yeah.
I taught the kids, we teach our kids that all the whole time.
Right.
But as adults, we put up our boundaries and our walls and we in our security blanket here, but it's just like, no, you are going to fail, 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 fail. But on the eighth try, you're going to stand up on your own and you're going to be able
100%.
to do it. But you have to know the whys. You have to be willing to make the commitment and the drive to make it happen
Mm,
and not be sedentary. There's so many people that just are sedentary and they're not dreamers.
amen.
But I taught through COVID. So I was teaching through COVID. Stress, anxiety, everybody lived through COVID or experienced COVID. But if you had kids going to school, that was even more pressure. I was teaching half the class online, the other half in the class. It was a mess. So
Wow.
during that time, how I stepped into this new position that I'm doing now is that it was just it was just so stressful. It was not emotional. My passion was dwindling because there
Wow.
was so much. And I know I'm not the only one that experienced that because COVID hit hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we just need to continue to pray that it changed. It changed the mental state of a lot of people. Well, it changed everything.
Yeah.
Um, During that time, I was stressed. I was eating. I know a lot of people were emotional eating because we
Yep.
were so stressed. Either you're eating or drinking or
Or
you're just
both.
anything or everything, and I just hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And I had tried in the past, I gaining weight. So I was working out, working out, working out. That wasn't working. I had tried other programs, for short term, they worked, but the
Hmm.
long term wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, I got the weight off, but there wasn't a mind shift. There wasn't a positive community. There wasn't a safety net. There wasn't an education component of it. And so that's, dieting in the dark, that's not sustainable.
Mm,
And we know that, but it is scary to step out of your comfort zone, right? And to
right.
say, hey, I need help. This is where I am.
Right.
This is what I'm trying to do to better myself. So
Right.
anyway, a friend of mine was on program while we were teaching, and she was losing weight, energy going up, and I was like, we're in the middle of COVID, and she's happy and eating and joyful, and I'm like, I don't care, I don't care what you're doing, I'm doing what you're doing. And so I did, and it was the best decision of my life. I can't
Mm,
imagine not having Optavia. And it's not just the weight loss, everything else changes. So within 2 weeks, basically, I was feeling better. I was losing my weight. I was had a pep in my step again. My passion was back. And
mm.
people were asking me, what the heck are you doing? And I was just sharing my story. And that's why I love this in podcasts because life is all about sharing stories
It is 100%.
and
We
sharing.
all have one, right?
I know everybody has a story to tell,
Yeah, we
and
do.
our
Everyone,
stories will affect someone down the line. And that's
100%.
why I think I just applaud you for having your podcast because someone needs to hear it. And
Mm,
someone today needs to hear the story that you too can chase better. You
right.
too can do it, but you've got to have that support system.
Right.
Um,
So let's back up because you are, just for the listeners so that they know, you are a coach for Optavia. Explain a little bit about what the program is. because you now coach and help other people, not just women, but you help men and women feel so
Love
much
it, love
better
it,
about
love it.
themselves and
All
look
right.
better.
Yes, absolutely. Most of the time, people jump on program because they want to lose weight, but
Mm,
little do they know that it is a health gain. I mean,
mm,
I was like, okay, that's no brainer, whatever you want to do, but first focusing on what you want. What do you want?
yeah.
And then why do you want it?
Mm,
Because that's the mind shift. I mean, you can do anything, but why is it important for you to get healthy?
yeah.
And then what is your capacity?
Mm,
What can you do? Because a lot of people, you start January 1st, how many millions of people start January 1st with their resolutions, they're going to do this. And by the third, fourth week, that is major burnout
right.
because you have this dream, but you don't have a path to get there.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's what we create is finding what you want out of life and finding that path to get there. What's beautiful though is that there's all different ways. I mean, some people, I think that any decision that we have in life, you're either making that decision for a purpose, you're making that decision for accountability,
Mm,
maybe you're making the decision for a financial endeavor.
yeah.
Okay. And there's all different reasons why we make these decisions in life. But, or you're making a decision for a community to be
Mm,
part of a community.
right.
Everybody, and when we think about what we do during the day, it really does fall into those four categories.
Yeah. Very well said.
I mean,
Very well
when
said.
you go to my book club, well, that's community. When I exercised this morning, that was accountability.
Mm,
See,
yeah.
when we go to work, those are my finances. So every activity that we do. So what I help people with is that usually when they come to me and they want to have help in either of these areas, whatever the purpose um, is that I can help them in any of these four areas. Some people need to gain weight. And so I help them gain weight.
Oh,
Some
wow.
people are wanting to be with a positive community. You know, yeah, they could shed 5, 10 pounds or whatever, but they're really there because they need that positive community. So
Mm,
what I do is I just help people. I help people, I evaluate. I mean, it's your life, it's your choice. I just encourage you to chase better, which whatever direction you want to go to.
yeah.
And whatever direction that is, it's just like, okay, let's do it. And then we make a plan.
Mm,
I have to say, many of the people, they start out with wanting to lose weight. And like I said before, that is a no-brainer. That's going to happen. But what the health gains that you get is this positive community and the education and the podcast. And some of my best friends now are people in Optavia.
mm. I
And
think yeah, I think I saw that on one of your posts that you did. It was, and I just made some notes as you're talking because this made me think. I mean, you obviously you give people a transformation because you give them what they want,
Mhm.
but they get what they need, right?
Absolutely.
It
And
is
it's
so much
all about
deeper.
them. It's
Yeah,
what do you want? I'm just the conduit to help you get there.
yeah,
Because a lot of people, well, some people know what they want and they don't know how to get there. And then other
right.
people don't really know what they want. They just know that they're unhappy.
Mm,
And then when they realize that I bring them into my tribe or my community and there's no judgment, we love you where you are,
mm,
work with you where you are. And that's what I love about it too, is it's just not, do this and do it 24 times and then you're going to reach this. It's just like, no, where are you and what's your capacity and why do you want this?
yeah.
Because when you really dig deep, and you know this, when you dig deep into your whys of what is important to you, then getting there is so much more fulfilling. So
Mm,
when I first started, yes, I wanted to shed pounds. I was just like, nope, yeah. And then all of a sudden I was educating myself and learning how to eat more healthy and being around these people who were so positive that my why changed. And I thought, it's not just about me. I
mm,
need to do this for my two sons. I need to do this for Zane and Vance because I want my kids to be proud of me. I want to
mm,
be the mom, and it is so sweet because my kids will go, Mom, I am proud of you. You're amazing. You're running and doing this. And I was like, I never dreamed I would be exercising and doing the things I'm doing now. But I do it for my husband and my kids. And then it went even further because I was teaching, started coaching. So I was teaching for 2 years, coaching on the side, which was great because it was my side gig. And then I realized things changed, teaching changed. I found more passion helping my clients achieve the best versions of themselves that I chose to retire early from teaching. And now I'm
Wow.
doing this full time.
Wow.
It brought me so much joy going to school in the classroom. And if I've got teachers out there, they know it because it's still crazy out there. I mean, we're in the classroom eight hours, and then you come home, and it was just like so stressful. But when I would come home, I would get on Zooms and phone calls with my clients, and it would fill my cup. And it was just like,
Wow.
this is my passion. I am teaching, but I'm teaching just larger adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was very sad when I made the choice to retire early, but I prayed about it and I cried about it. And I just knew that God had opened this door for me
Mm,
to continue educating people, but at a
yeah.
different level.
And it's so much fun for me because I knew you back then as a teacher. And for all of those listening, MaryAnne was the favorite teacher in school. Everybody wanted Mrs. Malicki. She was fun. She was great energy. You were strict, but you were able to really connect with the kids. And you were so passionate about math, which is what Matthew, that whole program, I think that's why he's such a whiz at math. It had to do with that early foundation, but you really were such a favorite teacher and you were so passionate. You could feel it, right? And so now to see you now, where you are now, it's so much fun to watch and to see this transformation happen for you now to bless others, adults. It's awesome. And I know you had to be really passionate about to give up what you were doing. So,
It
uh,
was hard. It was
yeah,
really hard
yeah,
decision because I was just like, God, where am I going?
yeah.
Is this the right? But that's where my word for the year is uncomfortable.
Ooh, I love that.
That
I
get
love
get
it.
uncomfortable, people, because when you are uncomfortable, that means that you are growing and you are being a better version of yourself and you are pushing yourself to higher levels because we have so many gifts. We have
Yeah,
so many gifts, and many adults are just afraid to use those gifts, thinking that, judgmental people are going to say, no, don't do it. And I did have naysayers. They're like, what the heck are you doing? You're
right.
retiring early from teaching. You're losing all this money. And I was like, sorry, but I was peace out. It was time for me to peace
Yeah.
out. And I always said that if you are an educator, if you are a teacher and you don't have the passion, you need to leave. And
Mm,
there's plenty of people in education that do not have the passion.
yeah,
But
100%.
I just realized that my passion was going in a different route. So I was
Mm,
like, okay, God, this door opened and I jumped through it, scared to death and not knowing what I was doing. But I did know that I had the community of people there to love and support me and educate me and just keep me going. And so it's been a beautiful experience. But I have to say, the best thing about it was the gift of time.
okay, so explain that. What do you mean by the gift of time?
Gift of time with teaching. You are there from 7. I would stay there till 6 at night. So from 7 to 6 and then
Okay.
working afterwards. My parents were elderly. We moved them into an assisted living. It will be 3 years this May.
Wow.
And I retired from teaching 2 years ago. So for the past 2 years, I have been able to, because my schedule is so flexible, I'm the CEO of my own business, which is
Yep.
wonderful.
Yep.
I can go and blow when I want to, but I also have to be very structured because
Yeah.
if we can work, but we can work our own hours, which is totally different than teaching. But for the past year and a half, I've been able to spend time with my mom, who was diagnosed with dementia,
Mm,
and she was in a memory care unit. So both of my parents were together, and then they had to be separated.
mm,
So for the
wow.
past year and a half, my mom couldn't come out to see my dad unless I brought her out. So,
Wow.
so it has been a blessing. I've spent more time with my parents the last year and a half than I had like after I left for college. I had never spent that much time. I have
Wow.
actually Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I'd go and play bingo.
Oh,
Play
wow.
bingo with my new BFFs. I love them.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
play cards and bingo and spend time with my parents. So when we say time is precious, I'm telling you, time is precious. And when I made the choice to give up teaching because the hours I was putting in was taking away from my joy.
Mm.
Like I said, the passion wasn't there anymore. And I think that that's okay
Yeah.
to make that choice. And I was strong enough to say, no, I have to make this choice to go on this next endeavor of coaching. But by doing that, it was giving me the gift of time to spend with my parents. So this past February 3rd, my mother passed
Mm-hmm.
away.
Oh,
Um,
so sorry about that, MaryAnne.
and I was there at the bedside. And it was beautiful. And if I had, my parents were married for 71 years.
Wow. Oh, that's
71.
amazing.
So we were all there. My dad was able to be there. And
Wow.
he always said his last word, the last words that she heard was Dick loves Lois. And she was sort of comatose. And she opened her eyes when he said
Mm.
that. And she said, I love you. And then
Wow.
she closed her eyes and died.
Wow.
And we
And
were there.
wow.
And I just
Wow.
was like, I am so blessed
Wow.
to be able to realize when you have a gift in front of you, when you are asked to get in a room with people who are going to elevate you, don't
Yeah.
say no.
Yeah.
Don't
100.
say no.
Yeah.
So I am always searching for people. It is just like, you asked, who do I want in my circle? I mean, we always want our tribe, right? It's my
Yeah.
tribe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I am, what I'm working on now, I'm just working on continuing to chase better. I'm
That's
continuing
awesome.
me to chase better, but encouraging others to do the same
Yeah.
and not live that stagnant life. Building a community around you, I do help people obtain their best version of themselves by, their emotional state and the financial state, because a lot of people become coaches as well. And becoming a coach is just helping the people you love become healthy.
Mm.
And that's the beautiful ripple effect that I love, because I never dreamed that I would be doing what I'm doing ever,
Yeah.
ever. But all you're doing is helping people achieve the best versions of themselves. So
And
beautiful.
you've had the opportunity to train under some amazing people. The people, are
Oh
they
my,
the founders of the company? Is that right? Are they at the top level? And you have, I mean,
they
I've
are
seen you kind
top
of go
level.
away.
Yeah. So I am blessed to be directly right under one of the top people, couple in the company, which
Yeah.
that in itself is a godsend, because there's a lot of coaches out there.
Yeah.
But what I love is that they've taken me under their wing and
Mm.
just, they believe in me more than I believe in myself sometimes.
Oh, that's amazing. I have a saying about that. Find someone who believes in you more than you believe in yourself, who sees the
And it,
best in you.
yes.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
this is the community of Optavia. And it's not just my mentors, it's everyone that I meet, because
Mm.
everybody chooses this. And if you're choosing to go into the money or choosing for this, and it's just like then it's not for you.
Yeah.
We choose to get into this business because we choose to want to help people be better versions of themselves. And yes, the blessings happen
Yeah.
and we know that when you help other people and take yourself out of the puzzle,
Yeah.
you automatically get blessed. Maybe not in the ways that you envision,
Yeah.
but in different ways. And that's where we have to really open our eyes to say, oh, well, this isn't what I thought was going to happen, but ooh, this is great. I've got this
Mm.
blessing. But
And do you find that I mean, number one, what do you think was like one of the hardest things, or maybe it wasn't hard, transitioning from leaving school, kind of this system, kind of pretty structured system, to now having this flexibility, being an entrepreneur, kind of starting this. Did you find that to be hard, or did you find that to be easy because you were so passionate about it and you really realized that you were really able to have a great impact on people's lives and you found that transition to be, not that difficult? Does that make sense?
yeah,
Was it
oh,
hard?
absolutely. I think the
Okay.
transition itself, I think anytime you make a huge change and a huge leap of faith, it's
Yeah.
terrifying. I
Yeah.
was scared to death.
Yeah.
Can I do this? Am I capable? I don't know how to
Mm.
coach. How am I going to get clients? I mean, who's going to listen? I mean, all of these
Both.
doubts come in your head, but
Yeah.
I think that's with anybody trying to do anything. But
100%.
you've got to surround yourself with people who encourage, believe, and can educate you.
Yeah.
And this is what we have. It's just like the training that we have. And I know that some of the people that you talk about with Jim Rohn and, Brendan Burchard, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, the personal development that takes place, if you don't help another person, your
Yeah.
personal development has skyrocketed because Optavia provides us with this training. And I always, well, this is on my bucket list too, is to take everything that I've learned,
Yeah.
Optavia and the training, and be able to implement that into the teaching world and the education. Because
Mm.
the training that we got in schools, or that they get in schools, is nothing. If we would focus on the personal development of the teachers, you would get so much more out of them.
Wow, MaryAnne, that's pretty powerful. Wow.
We want the personal development of each child. That's what we're trained to do, but it doesn't come from the top down.
So really you get sucked dry. There's not a lot getting poured back into you.
Sucked dry because it just keeps adding and adding and adding and adding.
Wow.
Especially after COVID and a lot of things had changed. They just added more to the plate. And I just hear lots of stories from teachers who are so unhappy, and they're wonderful teachers.
And then they lost people like you who are phenomenal teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow,
But I
that's
but I listened to my mind and I listened to my heart, and it was
yeah.
time for me, because this
Yeah.
is just a different path. And I think that by everything that I'm learning about the personal development and the training that I have with Optavia, I really do want to take it into the school district if they would allow that. Because
Wow.
usually the training is, here's a math program, the history program, and
Yeah.
there's no implementation, there's not time to implement all these new strategies. So they
Wow.
go home and it's just like, I just want to set up my classroom. I mean, it's just a spiral.
Yeah.
But so that's on the back burner. And I think,
Yeah.
that God has planted that seed there. But the ripple effect of just helping others, I think, is so important.
Yeah. And
And
I know
just,
you heard people like John Maxwell. I mean, just to have that influence too, like you were
oh my
talking
gosh,
about, just these people that you get to just sit under and listen to and be stretched and challenged and filled up is so powerful.
absolutely.
So in the coaching space, no matter what aspect of you're in it, really being open to that, I think it's life changing, isn't it?
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
it stretches you beyond what you think is possible. And that, I say to everybody, there's no age limit to it, right? We get so stuck in our head and we think, we're a certain age, we can or can't do certain things. And that's from me wanting just to stretch the boundaries that it's not too late. We're living longer
It's
um,
never too late.
and we need
Never
you
too
so that
late.
right? We need you so we can stay healthier to live longer.
I know, it's just like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? Let's go. So
Yeah.
that has been so exciting to be able to just put that fire under people and have them dream again. Because I mean, I have a client who literally, she is a grandma, and her goal was to get on the horse with her grandchildren, and she lost 70 pounds and she got on that horse and she rode horses.
Wow.
And so that was her why. Was just like,
Wow.
I want to be on the horse again with my grandkids. So I was like,
Wow.
well, then let's get there. So when you wanted to get off track or get derailed, it was like, no, you have your grandkids waiting for you over here. Have a
Yeah.
picture of that. It's just like, and I love visuals too. Just
Yeah.
like make that board of, that vision board of what you want to happen this year. Because
Mm,
we know, we see it, you surround yourself who believe that you can do it, and it
yeah.
will happen.
Yeah.
It will definitely happen.
And I mean, here, I know you've posted pictures recently, even of your husband. He works on a race team, right? And he races his own motorcycles. He's 60 years old. He's fit.
Mhm.
I mean, it's inspiring, that you hit 60 and it's not over, right? Which,
No, no, it's
it's
not.
not over. Right?
Absolutely. And he prides himself in it. It's so funny because I mean, people that he's riding with, they're 45, he's 60, and he's trying to keep up with them. And I'm like, oh, Chip, remember your age. And he has a slower bike. He has a 250 and they have 450s. And I was like, oh, so I pray a lot. I pray a lot.
Yeah. And he's
But
jumping. I see him like some of those pictures you've
oh,
posted. I'm like, oh my
no,
gosh,
no,
he's a
he
bit
is
of a dare.
insane crazy, but yeah, with health and with the essential amino acids that they've been taking, and it's just,
Yeah.
he's you know, he's
He's
done.
awesome. Can we circle back? Can I go back to something I know that's a little bit heavy? And we met because, well, we were at school, but you had a tragedy in your early life. You
Mm.
became a young widow. You had these two small boys, and you, in some way, I think, MaryAnne, have really learned to live life because of that. Fearlessly, do you think? Do you feel like when you talk about time, like with losing your mom and
Oh,
know that time is precious, do you feel like, is there a component of you that you live life a little bit differently? You've had this second chance with this wonderful man that you're married to now. Your boys are now grown. They're awesome humans. You've done an amazing job raising them. Do you feel a little bit differently about time? Like,
oh,
what are we afraid of? At the end of the day, life happens for all of us. I've been through really, really hard things. You read my book, life is so unpredictable. And why are we afraid at some, I guess is the question. Is that a fair question to say? I mean, we have a reason to be, but at the same time, why are we afraid, right? How would you answer?
I,
Am I putting you
I,
on the spot?
no, 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 no. I just think that, yes, okay, yeah, boys were in kindergarten and second grade. And my husband was driving home in a family van, and he worked for a race team as well. But his van crashed, and he was killed just instantly. So obviously, my life was turned upside down. I always say getting back to surrounding yourself with good people, because I
Mm,
was at St. Gabriel's. I
yeah.
could have been in Lake Travis ISD, but I chose to work at St. Gabriel's and I truly believe for this reason,
Mm,
because of the community, the support, the prayers, the
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
When that happened, no life insurance,
Oh,
zero,
really? I don't think I knew that.
yeah, zero life insurance, living in Lakeway, teaching at a private school, funds were very short, really. And we still live in this house. I was determined to stay in the house because I wasn't going to uproot the boys and move someplace else. I mean, I just wanted
Wow.
stability.
Wow.
So, we made it. We made it. But
Wow.
to answer your question, yes, we've always had the daredevil DNA in us.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like a racing. I mean, the boys had, I mean, I counted when they were little, they had 5 different helmets. I was always Mrs. Safety, but they had wakeboarding helmets, they had bicycle helmets, they had skateboard helmets, they had motocross helmets, I mean, everything had a helmet. So we've lived a daredevil life, and I love that
Mm,
they live to extreme. But what's most beautiful is that my oldest Zane, he had a job at Charles Schwab, and he was working there for 5 years. He was a scrum master, and he just decided that he didn't want to do that anymore. And
wow.
I was just like, okay, Z, what's going on here? Because he was doing very, very well. He had both my sons bought my parents' house on Lake Travis. So now he has a mortgage. And he is now actually at this moment driving to McCall, Idaho to be a wildlife firefighter. So
Wow.
when we had the deep conversation of quitting Charles Schwab, you got to pay your mortgage. This is 1/4 of your salary, blah, blah, blah. He looked at me and just said, "You were the one that told me to live with purpose."
Wow.
Yes, from the eyes of a man child. I just said, I did. I
Wow.
did. And I'm very proud of you,
Wow.
because sitting behind a computer, that wasn't his life, and he knew it. He
Wow.
said, you told me to live my life with purpose, and I have purpose." And then my youngest son is in the Navy, and he is doing incredible things, and he's over in the UK right now. So they both
Wow.
are living their lives with purpose. And, I do believe that tragedy, tragic, tragic events are going to happen. That
Mm,
is life. They're either going to happen early in life or later in life.
mm.
Life is not perfect, right?
Yeah,
Are going to
100%.
happen.
Yeah.
So that's when you need to be prepared by surrounding yourself with people who are going to
Mm,
support you and love you. And
mm.
I tell that to my boys all the time. Who are your friends? We tell that to our kids. Who are
Right.
your friends? Who are you going to hang around? as adults, we need to do the same. But
100%.
yes, it has it has definitely made me a fighter. I
Yeah.
fight for things that I was I was I was in a lawsuit for 5 years because I truly believe that the vehicle that he was driving should not have gone off the road. And this is a wild story because it was a Toyota Sienna van, and this was the time when all the brakes were going out on the vans or on
Oh,
Toyota.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the day before, I drove the van to school, and the boys were in the back, and they said, "Mama, can we pray the rosary?" And I was just driving, and I thought, what the heck?
Wow.
They have never asked to pray the rosary, ever. So being Catholic, I had glow in the dark rosaries in the van. So each child a glow in the dark rosary. And we prayed the rosary. We hung the rosaries. They hung the rosaries over each of the back seats because they were in car seats. And then the next day, Craig said, I need the van because we were doing renovations on the house. And so I know the van was malfunctioned. I know that something was going to go wrong with it, but I truly believe that when we prayed and my boys prayed, we were not meant to be in that van when it crashed. Because
Wow.
to this day, we don't really know what happened. All we know is that the brakes didn't work, the airbags went off, but they didn't protect him. The seatbelt, he hit his head on the steering column, but the seatbelt apparently worked. But when I look at that and I think,
Wow.
oh my gosh, we were protected. We were protected. So I am blessed in that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Yeah.
yes, from that, I'm a fighter. I'm a
Yeah.
fighter. Learn from it. It's just like surround yourself with people. And I have definitely learned from that. And then just going into my mother's death as well. We know death is inevitable, but being stronger and being more passionate about the time that we have is precious
Yeah.
and taking care of the people that we love,
Mm. So
spending
good.
time and taking care of the people that we love. So,
So good. That's
and,
so good. And what?
and I said, and I'm sorry about last night because I said, no, Terry, I'm ditching you because my son's coming over.
No, this
And
was
I'm
so
like,
no, yeah, we were no, we were
he
gonna do a record
is,
last night, but
he is.
it's so good. That's so it's most important. I mean, you make time for what's most important, and that's what matters most, you know? Really good. So thank you for sharing that. I just wanted to just highlight a little bit about that because I see you constantly smile. You have such a great spirit. You are so passionate and compassionate and trying to make a difference in the world, and you're doing it. I just love that midlife you decided to pivot and try something new,
Absolutely.
something that has brought you joy, something that you get to bless others with and see results, and help them, like you said earlier, just get even more than what they think they need, right?
You don't even know what you need. I mean, it's just like
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes you don't even know, but it's just like, I want what they have. Don't know what
Ig
that is, but if it can bring you joy and passion and add, an extra anything into your life, then I encourage you to just reach out.
Is there anything else that you would like anyone else to know? How would you like to leave this to encourage all of us and inspire us before we say goodbye? And I am going to put in the show notes where people can contact you, where they can learn about Optavia, what you do as a coach. She's just amazing as a source of inspiration for anyone who's headed on this health journey and so much more. So I will put all that in the show notes so they can reach out to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are
Yeah.
welcome. But how would you end this? What would you like
How
everyone to know? What little tidbit of inspiration?
inspiration or a fun fact? Fun fact?
Either, whatever you want to
I'll give
give.
you a little fun fact and then some inspiration. Fun
Okay.
fact. Patrick Dempsey left me a voice message on my phone.
No way.
Dr. McDreamy, he actually races cars.
MaryAnne,
So
woohoo.
yeah, so my husband said, would you please call my wife? Anyway, so yeah, that's a fun fact but I lost the phone and lost the message, but the memory is still there. Dr.
Wow, that
McDreamy
is
did
so
call me.
cool.
He just asked me what. But really, I love Ed Milet, and he has some wonderful things to say. And what his mission is, I decided I needed it to be my lifelong mission as well. And what he states is that at the end of his life, he wants the person he is striving to be and the person he actually is to be the same person. So keep dreaming and keep chasing better, y'all,
Mm,
because we have a beautiful life to live, and living every moment counts,
mm.
and
Amen.
live with no regrets.
Amen.
Yes.
Wow. With that, I could not say anything better. I love Ed Milet. And of course, I love MaryAnne. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to air this podcast. You are a gift. You're a gift to me, to all that know you. And now you're leading and guiding and teaching others in a different way. And I'm so grateful for you. Just God bless. Thank you so much for all that you are.
Thank you, Terry.
You're
It's my
welcome.
pleasure.
God bless everyone. I can't wait for you to hear this.